now, she's been hinting that she's revisiting one of her characters, so I've booked her on the Queen Mary 2 with her 2 friends and her nephew.
J'étais devenue une institution. Quand on commence à faire de l'argent, ça attire les chacals.
Welcome to our film show, where critic Lisa Nesselson is bringing us the latest from the small, medium and big screens this week. Hi, Lisa. Now, we're starting off with a film from Spanish director Pedro Almodovar, who's done a free adaptation of Jean Cocteau's play La Voix Humaine. In Almodovar's version, the human voice of the title belongs to the inimitable Tilda Swinton. This is a half-hour movie that just became available online and on DVD here in France. Tell us more.
Well, you know, there are European directors who have turned down the supposed lure of Hollywood because the films they make are grounded in the place they know. Italy's Federico Fellini was one, and Spain's Pedro Almodovar is another. But in this 30-minute film, part heartbreak, part fashion show, Almodovar works in English for the first time, but still in Spain. The original play, performed for the first time in Paris in French in 1930, concerns a woman's final phone call with her lover of 5 years who is marrying somebody else the next day. She admits that she tried to kill herself the night before. Between changing clothes a lot, each outfit more ravishing than the last, and Swinton, at age 60, looking terrific in everything as she audibly suffers, our protagonist admits she's emotionally adrift and can't think of anything except the way her every waking moment is being devoured by the ordeal of being abandoned.
Okay, well, let's take a look at Swinton, playing an actress whose theatrical career hasn't fully prepared her for this personal drama. So in the original play, it's just a woman in a room with a phone, and the connection cuts off several times. And I imagine that in 1928, when the play was written, when Jean Cocteau originally devised this, the telephone was hardly a fixture in every French home.
Oh, that's for sure. That was very far off. I wonder if Cocteau could have imagined that it's common nowadays for people to break off relationships via text message and then block calls from the other person. Turns out, though, that in the play 90 years ago, the woman reveals her obsession with the telephone, explaining that she has slept with it in her bed for the past 2 nights. Probably a nice Bakelite model suitable for weight training, kind of like this one. This version of the story seems to have a slightly happier ending than the original, which had intimations of that telephone cord being used as a noose. And it has a very adorable dog who belonged to her now ex-lover and didn't get the memo that his master has found a new romantic partner and won't be coming back. Woof.
Well, before there were telephones, there were certainly cruise ships, which brings us to our next film, which takes place on one. Here in France, Canal+ will be showing American director Steven Soderbergh's latest film, Let Them All Talk, which was filmed entirely during a genuine crossing of the Queen Mary 2 between New York and England.
Yes, award-winning household name American author Alice Hughes, played by Meryl Streep, can't fly, and so agrees to travel to England to pick up a literary prize in person if her publisher will pay for the ocean crossing and let her invite 2 friends from her college days and her 20-something nephew. The 2 friends are played by Diane Wiest and Candice Bergen. Bergen's Roberta is convinced that Alice appropriated way too much of her real life when writing the book that made her famous and thinks the book ruined her marriage. Alice is way overdue on delivering a manuscript. Her nephew is a courtly young man who gets co-opted for inside gossip by Alice's editor, who also happens to have boarded the ship.
Okay, well, they sound like a lot of potentially volatile ingredients, even if the Queen Mary 2 is a rather large vessel. Let's take a look.
How's work going?
Oh, I've hit a wall.
Well, maybe you should take a breather.
Sometimes the sources that a writer uses are very close to home.
There is a lot of excitement. Is there anything you might be able to share with us?
Not really, not at this point, no. Whatever character I write about is essentially about me.
That's a little pompous.
Who is the real you?
Not entirely plain sailing there, I can imagine. So is it true that a large part of the action was actually improvised?
That's the official story. The cast members are such pros that I couldn't tell you what they made up themselves and what may have been part of the story's broad outline. Soderbergh, whose filmography includes Erin Brockovich, Ocean's 11, 12, 13, and a 2011 movie about a killer virus, Contagion, that suddenly became very, very popular about a year ago, not only directed, he also operated the camera under a pseudonym and edited the film under another pseudonym. I'm very impressed that most of the movie was shot on board the ship during the crossing. And 8 days is a time frame that suits Soderbergh. It turns out that he wrote the screenplay for his first film, Sex, Lies, and Videotape, by hand on a legal pad during an 8-day-long cross-country drive. The resulting film won him the Golden Palm at the Cannes Film Festival in 1989 at age 26, and he's been working ever since. The journey here is full of little pleasures, but it isn't what you'd call breathlessly exciting. For me, though, the reason to see this is Candice Bergen. I could listen to her throaty voice all day long, and her self-aware humor here is priceless.
Okay, Steven Soderbergh, truly a polymath there. Now, next to an extraordinary real-life character, Madame Claude. From the mid-1950s until 1976, this woman ran a stable of over 200 high-class call girls who worked in Paris or were dispatched to Bokassa's Central African Republic or went to Chad to attend an orgy organised by the Shah of Iran. Now, Netflix has just started showing a feature film about the most successful procurer of her day. Apparently it's kitschy, but is it catchy?
Well, where there's sex, this film tells us, there's hypocrisy. The overlap depicted here between the French Secret Service, the highest levels of government, and pliant young women who provided sexual services for a fee is more sordid than the standard notion of prostitution. Some young women in the 1960s were working as receptionists or shop clerks, and others were told, go see this powerful man with a rope fetish, slip this drug into his drink, and the plan is for us to burst in and take compromising photos after he passes out. Madame Claude, whose real name was Fernande Godet, was a ruthless manager with a sought-after commodity. There's apparently a world of difference and definitely a different price structure between streetwalkers and high-class call girls. The movie gets underway in 1968 in Paris, and in a way, the sheer volume of indoor smoking is way more startling. Some topless women, full-frontal male nudity. We're shown lots of human coupling up against a tree on a velvet sofa, but the smoking.
Okay, well, let's take a look at some of those steamy scenes from Madame Claude.
T'as pris trop de place, Fernande.
Je sais.
C'est quoi cette chose que tout le monde ressent,
Sois heureuse d'être toujours en vie.
que l'on appelle l'amour? Y aurais-je droit d'un jour?
Tu t'es fait beaucoup d'ennemis. Parle d'une affaire d'État. Comprenez ça?
C'était dangereux d'être la maquerelle de la République.
Et cela fait
Plus rien ne pouvait m'arrêter.
d'être un jour désiré, câliné, enlacé,
Now, I heard Madame Claude was so successful that there were rumours she was actually a man. And in terms of the sisterhood, feminist values, is it actually better to have a woman taking 30% of your earnings as opposed to a man?
Kinder, gentler exploitation? Well, what we now call human trafficking has always been part and parcel of the power structure. Madame Claude, you could reason, was simply being entrepreneurial in a context of supply and demand. Part of me secretly wished that Austin Powers would drop by while names were being dropped. Clients included Marlon Brando, John F. Kennedy, the Shah of Iran, Aristotle Onassis. Her foreign clients' names got dropped, but she only mentioned her French customers to the police structure that protected her. You'd contact Madame Claude for obliging female human company, the way you'd contact Fauchon or Le Nôtre for tasty and attractive pastries for a reception. Is sisterhood powerful? Well, her real protectors were all men. The first female head of the police moral squad is the one who had her arrested. I think my favorite things about this movie were the music and the cars. And if you've never seen it, or even if you have, Louis Buñuel's Belle de Jour, in which Catherine Deneuve plays a lovely bourgeois housewife who staves off boredom by working in a brothel while her husband is at work is infinitely better filmmaking. But that was a work of the imagination, and Madame Claude was a real person. She died in December of 2015 at age 92.
After a long and very successful career, it seems. Now, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, France's annual festival of French animation is going online for the second time in a row. It's usually held in the city of Rennes, but the lineup this year is no less exciting for being virtual. Lisa, tell us more.
160 animated films may be viewed until April 20th for a one-time fee of €15, 100 features and 60 shorts. The organizers say that students in animation were able to produce interesting work from home during lockdown, which may have lent itself to the concentration animation requires. Adrien Merigo's 15-minute animated short, Genius Loki, is competing for an Oscar. The title means the spirit of a place, and this is the tale of a young woman trying to find herself, mostly in an animated nighttime. I'm slightly surprised that this made the final cut for the Oscars because I found the length arbitrary and the central character kind of dull, despite a very, very distinctive visual style. But this Festival of French Animation has some real gems.
Thank you for that roundup, Lisa. We'll leave you with a taste of the very specific style of Genius Loki. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 just after this.
Allure. Alarme. Une alarme. On trouve. Brut. Je vais rester assise. Attendre un peu. Un signe.